Hello everyone, welcome to Satsang. Let's make some silence first. If there's any love in your heart, love for the divine, for God, Guru, hold it. Feel that love. Keep it there, present. Forget about everything else. Stay in that love. Okay. So similarly, as I did in the previous satsang in Portuguese, I will talk about a subject which is quite important, vital for truth seekers, and that is depending exclusively on the divine, on God. And this language may seem a little bit different what I normally use, but it is the same. Um, there are the seekers that embrace the path of bhakti, and those who are more close to the path of gyan. But in reality, there's not much of a difference in the two, because there's no real gyan without bhakti and no real bhakti without gyan. Eventually, the other has to appear, or else it continues dead. So the initial stages of the truth seeker, as he is dealing with his most immediate fears, attachments, and all of this, it is the beginning. He is trying to shift the direction of his life that was serving the purpose of worldly satisfaction, worldly survival, worldly ambitions, whatever. And as the calling appears in his heart and he is shifting that direction, he will have to go through fears, attachments, lack of understandings, and all of these things. If he is not going through this, so it means that divine realization has become another worldly goal. So this is the reason why these difficulties are not arising, because for him it's just another goal, another human goal, another goal that will bring something or everything to this character, to the character's life, the way he is seeing it, following it. Because when it is a divine goal, then it starts to collide with the previous life, with the previous goals, with the previous directions. And this brings fears, attachments, weaknesses, all of this starts arising. So in the beginning, the first stages, it is about dealing with these things that are arising. Meditation intensifies all of this, brings this, and gives you the more chances for you to overcome this successfully, but still the steps are yours. And this is preparation. It is a preparation so that you can establish yourself in a living path, in divine communion, instead of depending on circumstances, instead of your life depending on external factors, all of these things on your efforts, on chance, and all of this. More and more, it has to depend on God, on the divine. Majority of seekers, they look at God more or less as a consultant. And you can call it whatever you like. God, self. It's basically the same. Ooh, it is. It's like a consultant. The divine, it's a consultant. All these divine laws, all these things, they are interesting, nice, but in practical terms, they are not applied. And they have their spiritual practices and they have their worldly goals, and they continue to plan, to direct, to control. They think they control, and to exert this control and all of this, fighting for their survival, fighting for their well-being, fighting to guarantee a future. And that's not even intelligent, you see, because according to the character, his future is suffering. So by pursuing these ideas, these character ideas, then you're guaranteeing suffering, future suffering. So it's not even intelligent, but still it continues. The last thing you need to have a human life is intelligence. The more dumb, the best you can enjoy life the way it is presented, seen. But that's a different subject. So conquering these initial fears and attachments will allow you to become stronger, more established in your quest. And this will give you the possibility to give this other step, which is to establish yourself, to depend, put all your dependencies on the divine. And this will mean eventually to stop making plans, stop trying to control your future, surrendering continuously. And it is difficult because deep-rooted fears will arise intensely. But still, that is what you're looking for. The biggest beauties lie on being completely dependent on the divine. It's the biggest beauties, the best experience that can be. And this is not by chance. See, this life as an individual, it serves a purpose. But dedicating it to worldly goals, this is wasting the purpose of this character. Because its purpose is like a cup to be filled with divine love, to live it at its fullest, and then the character dissolves and only love remains. There are some key points which allows a more intense, more how do you say this? A more active, a more dynamic process, and that is embracing the difficulties that are there, that you know that are there. And most of you don't understand that by not doing so, you are depriving yourself of something which is birthright. That's why this birth has happened, whatever that means. To live that divine love to its fullest. But you cannot make this by giving just those steps that are comfortable for you, or those steps that are a little bit uncomfortable but you imagine that they are possible? You have to go all the way. And these difficulties that are connected to this, spiritual tests and all of this is there to help you purify, to make your love unconditional, to transform it from conditional love, the love that I give in exchange or in expecting something in return. And with these difficulties, these tests, you have the opportunity to transform this, to access that unconditional love which is there. I will answer your question now. Dear Shima, in your satsang today, the other day, you spoke about austerities as a mean to purify oneself. Could you please speak more about this? Okay, I will answer to this question because it is aligned with this subject of today more than it seems, because it seems it is out of topic, but I will bring it to this topic. I already spoke a little bit about these austerities. This austerity is connected to the spiritual path, meditation. It is in that satsang about meditation. But the biggest austerities are there to prepare yourself, to purify, to make you stronger, more able to go beyond your fears, to make it possible for you. And there's something which is very important in this practice of austerities. For those who are prone to arrogance, to a strong mind, difficulties with this divine love, with devotion, it is complicated because it can increase this arrogance and so on. So each step of the path, whatever it is, it has to be coupled with the practice of humility. And for those who are prone to arrogance, this becomes more intense even. So the biggest austerities, in a sense, they are doing what seems impossible for you to do. And surrendering completely, putting your dependence completely on the divine. This is the highest austerities. Without a doubt. But you have to do this not as make-believe, not as in those topics that you still are comfortable with. But if you start to wait, to open the space, to give the space for God to direct, eventually that will start to happen. But there can be some difficulties in recognizing the direction of God as it is, because there's a lot of fantasies. And usually these things come in a way that you don't expect them to. And if you wait and wait and wait, eventually it will come. Of course, in this waiting, probably you will have to go through some fears because, well, you're not taking care of your life, you're not taking care of your things. So, who will take care of? But if you persist, it will eventually come. And that time, that energy that you were using to take care of your life, whatever that means, all of that time will be available for divine communion. So, for those who are in the quest for truth, establishing yourself, depending yourself exclusively on the divine, on God, that is a need. Because as long as you imagine that you are taking care of your life, making your efforts, your plans, all of this, you're not, you're doing something, but it's kind of more or less like, okay, so I want to put take the ocean from here and put it somewhere else, and I'm doing it with a teaspoon. Some water is going, but a teaspoon doesn't make much of a difference. Just to conclude, to end for today, as fears are intense in whatever situation it is, the more intense the fear, the biggest the opportunity it gives. The more you wait, the more you adapt to it, and the smaller the opportunity. And if that is the the desire in your heart, then you will have to live it again and again, again and again, again and again. And by doing so, you will always be living fears. And if you go straight up, then you will start living divine love instead of those fears and those difficulties. Okay, it is enough for today. Next satsang will be Sunday, same time. 9 o'clock UTC -3. Intensify your practices, make it real for you.